Happy Wednesday. I hope that you had a great day yesterday and that you got a lot accomplished. Today, your bell ringer, I'm sure it was a little bit challenging because you were working on writing down the support for the topic on your bell ringer, but I know that you did great, and that's actually going to be really good practice for what you're going to work on today. So in your notebooks, you'll need to find the work that you did yesterday, which was we looked and again at our prompt, writing about how to make and keep a friend, and we decided that based on that prompt, it was a masked type of writing, and we used a web to plan that writing. So if you haven't quite finished that yet, then that's what you'll need to do so that you have a completed web. What I'd like for you to do is look back over your suggestions, and I think that it would be great for you to pick just two that you would like to use as suggestions for your readers. When you're explaining to your readers how to make and keep a friend, pick the two that you think best explain to your readers how to make and keep a friend. So to me, probably one of the best things you do, or not best, but maybe the first or the initial, probably you don't even realize it, but you choose your friends, I think, because you have something in common. So to me, one of my choices, find something you have in common, is definitely going to be one of the suggestions that I use in my essay. And then I also think that to keep a friend, you have to be trustworthy. So that's going to be the other suggestion that I use. So what I want to do now, and just like we did a couple of weeks ago when we were, if I flip back into our quadrant, once we had picked our two reasons for how to, why it's important to set goals, we used How and Why Cafe to begin thinking through how we would support that statement. I'm going to do that, except I don't have a quadrant, I have it on my web. So I'm just going to brainstorm out here how, why, and cafe for finding something that you have in common with your friends in order to make a friend. So I might do a how, and that would be maybe something like strike up conversation, maybe part of that is to listen and talk to your friends. I actually kind of like that suggestion as well. Be a good listener. Maybe I might say why that helps you make a friend. Because if you have something in common, you'll have things to talk about. And do together. And then I might say something like right here, for example. I might use either an example, or I could maybe even use an anecdote here. An anecdote might be good. Remember the difference between the two? An anecdote is a personal story. And maybe I might say, Miss Lee, who is filming this actually, Miss Lee and I became friends because, and I'll finish it later, but because we have things in common like reading books and watching movies, and we have a lot of the same goals in life. And that was, having that in common helped us to become friends. So that's how that one would work. And then I can also do the same thing for being trustworthy. And I might tell why it's important to be trustworthy and keep a friend. Perhaps I want to give a fact about why being trustworthy will help you keep a friend. And I also think that I want to use a caution here, because to me, being trustworthy will help you keep a friend, but I would want to make sure that if my friend told me something that put them in danger, or something that I would need to tell an adult about, that would be okay to tell that. So I might put a caution. If it's something, and I can finish this later. So basically what I want you to do today is pick the 2 suggestions from your brainstorm that you're going to use in your essay to explain to your readers how to make and keep a friend. Once you pick those 2, start thinking through the support that you are going to use in your essay. Your How and Why Cafe is in the back pocket of your notebook if you've lost it. And remember that these are just the details, and it gives a name to those details so that you can change it up and not repeat yourself with the same type. For example, fact. You can change it up a little bit. If you finish this much today on Wednesday, then I want you to go ahead and write your thesis. Your thesis will go down at the bottom again. And remember, your thesis is the statement that tells your reader what the focus of your essay is going to be about. So my essay is going to be explaining to my readers that in order to make and keep a friend, you need to find something that you have in common, and you need to be trustworthy. So that's what my thesis is going to be.
You know what I noticed about this prompt, Miss Landrum?
Yes, Miss Lee.
It's not just how to make a friend, it's how to keep one too. So it might be important, as I'm thinking, it's not only how to make one, but it's also to keep one when we're thinking about addressing the prompt.
I think that's a great point to make. So now that I have my thesis, to make a friend, you should find something you have in common, but to keep a friend, you must also be trustworthy. I can go ahead and start thinking about my introduction. And if I want to get out my introduction flip book, I can start looking and reminding myself that an introduction needs to introduce the topic. So I'm going to need to say something about making and keeping friends. I'm going to need to put my thesis in my introduction, and I need to find some way to be inviting and hook my reader. So I'm going to go ahead and work on my introduction, and I think that's probably all that you'll have time for today. But just to review, you're going to look back at your web, circle the 2 suggestions that you want to use in your essay. They're probably your 2 strongest, the 2 that you can explain the best, and then begin thinking through the support that you're going to give, the How and Why Cafe that you're going to use to explain what you mean by that suggestion, and explain what you mean by that suggestion, and then use that in your thesis. I hope you have a wonderful Wednesday, and I look forward to seeing you on Thursday. Bye.